Good afternoon. I'm going to discuss about how we can improve rural roads of Australia simply by developing a system that makes sense for rural environment. I'm going to present, these are the summary of my presentation. Start with some issues and challenges. Almost 80% of the roads of rural councils that I worked before had traffic volume less than 30 vehicles per day. The rate income that we get is around 2.4 million, while the road annual budget was about 4.5 million. I was operations manager on this council. I didn't follow the standard norms because they were very obviously irrelevant. If we follow standard for the same service level, the cost would be about 10 million, which means from the same money, we'll be able to produce half the result. Of not following, not working, something is massive. That is $2.4 million as an income and $10 million as an expenses. We can sustain long from this one. Thus, it's a time to act. Therefore, we set up goals to develop quality, reliable, and resilient infrastructure to support economic development and human well-being. Our aim is to increase the proportion of rural population who live within 2 kilometers of all season road. Impact. The impact project that we're looking at is, as discussed above, huge amount of resources has been wasted because we are attempting to comply with the standard which were never built for the purpose of rural community. We can see that if we make a standard looking into economics, ecology, and risk factor of rural Australia, then the same amount of money will produce more result. Thus, we'll be able to achieve our mission. This includes road making material for the rural context, deregulation of the various laws which are obviously not applicable in rural context, and finding solutions that are meaningful, including the other example. Um, Based on the current standard, rural roads are economic if unsealed. However, our analysis proved that sealing the same road is much economic in the long run, which is obvious from this chart. Also, the another question is about how long the seal lasts, the useful life of the seal. Current standard says that rural seal lasts about 12 to 14 years, but from our research, that together with ARRB, we did that research and we found that the seal lasts in the rural context more than 18 years. A bridge assessment project. Based on the current standard, a particular bridge was analyzed to be, needing to be replaced. But after rigorous analysis, we found that the bridge has the enough capacity. So the standard is not not considering the rural factors. This low-cost bridge that I designed at a cost of around 200,000 in rural Australia, which has been a great source of attraction for tourists. However, if we follow the bridge design standard 100%, we would be paying $80,000 just for the design. Instead of buying gravel from the hundreds of kilometers away, we produce local gravel, relatively inferior quality, but proving okay. This resulted us ability to double the length of the gravel receipt from the same amount of money. Of course, the current standard thinks that the gravel we use is not suitable. Therefore, we want to unite all rural local government, collect their experiences and issues so that we will be able to produce standards that suits a rural community. After the project, we'll work with Stand Australia and Australian Road Research Bureau to include these findings in this form of standard. The project may cost in the range of around 5 million. About some subjective way to demonstrate the return of investment. The current idea in engineering community that sealing of a road is costly is proven to be wrong, which is I presented in a graph before. Also, the current idea that we should reshield a road, every 10 to 12 year cycle is wrong. That means if we seal that road in 12 years, you're wasting the resources because you could have waited another 3 years. If you look in this chart, this is analysis of how much money is required to reseal the entire Road of Australia, Seal Road of Australia, for different frequency. That is the standard at the moment is 10 to 12 years. You're looking at needing of around $730 million a year of the reshield budget. While if that is incorrect, or if you find the innovative way of shielding, which is last 20 years, we'll be saving $300 million a year. So that is a massive saving. So this project has an enormous potential. So it is important to note that if a company produces standard for high volume roads, the document will be useful for the entire world with the high, because most of the population of the world is living in cities. So those standards and is useful those areas. Therefore, it is tendency for these people is that to produce the standard for those high volume road. So they always miss the low volume roads in their development. So making a difference in rural community is our necessity. We all rural local councils need to work together to produce something that is suitable for our need. Let's stop copying the standard from the main roads to local roads. It simply doesn't work. Let's join hands to solve this issue for the benefit of our community, economy, and generation. Thank you.